What up, guys? Welcome to week 5. Yes, you haven't heard much of me. Yes, I've been a little salty. Yes, I'm a sore loser, but I'd much rather be a sore loser than a good loser. So let that marinate. Yeah, I don't like losing. I hate losing. Going 0-4, very hard pill to swallow. Very hard. But I'm not giving up. This is not the end. Not the last that you'll see of me. Got some matchups coming up that I think I can win. Hopefully, I can get Cooper Kupp back this week. Moving on from Joe Burrow for now until he can prove that he can actually produce. I've got some optimism. Swift looks like he's getting more and more of the backfield. Brian Robinson has been producing RB1, maybe RB2, high-end RB2 so far in the season. So Chris Olave, he had a rough game, but he's been producing even though he hasn't had any touchdowns. So get some touchdowns in the mix there, and I think he'll start producing a little bit more. And then Jamar Chase, as weeks go on, now without Higgins especially, I think he'll be good. So I'm not too worried. Maybe a little bit, but But yeah, that was a tough week. Very tough week. It was hard. I had I was talking shit about Austin's team, and he gave it back to me. Not very happy to see those text messages. I mean, this guy was text messaging me. This guy sent me Snapchats. I'm surprised he didn't call me. He probably did, and I'd ignored him. This guy even sent me a recording of his reaction on Sunday afternoon while he was sitting there watching and winning. And I figured I'd show that video with you guys. So enjoy this video of Austin gloating how he won.
Dad for size. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Yeah.
Damn right, it's better than yours. I can teach you, but I'd have to charge. What the boys go crazy for?
I wish I was exaggerating, but that's the video he sent me. Yeah. So I had to watch that. And that's not even the whole video. So but I figured I'd spare you guys the presence of Austin too much. So yeah. So had to deal with that on Sunday. That was tough. But moving on. We're gonna keep on grinding through our podcast here. Last podcast was nice, short, sweet. Didn't feel like I did a second take. That was my second take. The first one, I was almost crying as much as Luke. That's how bad the first video was. So I couldn't post that one. So definitely did a second one. It was a little nicer. I was still in a really bad mood. It was a tough day in all of my fantasy leagues. So, and I hate losing. So, but moving forward, I figured I went through a quick power rankings. So instead, we're going back to square one. Hopefully, you guys don't get too upset. I mean, obviously, Austin, something has been marinating in him, and he's been waiting to unload on me after beating. I mean, let's sit back and let's analyze this. Austin, you beat a team that scored 40 points, and you were that excited. From the famous words of Kobe Bryant, Black Mamba, RIP, job ain't done. Season's not done. We're barely past the first quarter. Job's not done. I don't know what you're celebrating for. Job's not done. So, but if you look at it, Austin, the opponents that you've beaten, combined record 1-7. I wouldn't be celebrating too much. Season is early. I'm sure not celebrating. So don't get all butthurt. I'm sure not celebrating. Even Luke shouldn't be celebrating. But yeah, I just kind of want to throw that out there. Job's not done. Season ain't over. You guys smell that? Smelling a comeback. Smells pretty good. I'm coming for each and every one of you. Now, this is a very tough start to the year. But mark my words, if I win, I am buying myself a fucking belt. And I am going to be so extra at the next draft. But that's down the road. Still got a lot of work to do. So for this podcast, I want to do some comparisons. I figured I'd go through some comparisons. There's mostly it's football related. There's one unfootball related one. But yeah, let's just start it off. Luke, you're my first comparison. I've got your comparison as the 49ers. The 49ers, because your team's always getting injured, but yet it's still winning. Somehow it's still winning. Undefeated. 49ers undefeated. I mean, this year, 49ers have knock on wood, not too many of their people have had season-ending injuries, but in the past, they've been pretty notorious for having a lot of injuries. Another reason why I view as the 49ers, no one wants to see you win. I think we're all pretty much Hawks fans in here. No one wants to see you win, but you're still winning. So those are two big reasons I got you as 49ers. We'll see if you can keep it up. Honestly, I'm at the point where there's I don't know the analytics, but there's very, very little possibility of me being number one after the regular season. So honestly, I'm rooting for you. I hope you keep on winning because that just pushes my playoff hopes better and better. So I'm rooting for you and Dre to just steamroll everyone besides me. And then that way, like I said, helps my playoffs. But moving on. I don't know what happened there. I think we're back up and running. I'm going to keep going, though. Eric, I couldn't find a football reference. So the next best thing I could think of is Amy Schumer. Honestly, one of the worst comedians ever. You think you're funny. You think you're a funny guy. I saw your picture. You think you're a funny guy. I saw your post. Think you're a funny guy, but you're not. You're not. You're not funny. This comparison is brought to you by salt because I'm very salty. But you're not funny. You're not funny. So you get Amy Schumer because she's the worst comedian I've ever seen. Yeah, moving on. Not much else to say about that. Eddie, next I've got you. I've got you as Rodney Harrison. And if you don't know the name, I had to actually look it up. So if you don't know who it is, you got to check out. Actually, you know what? I'm going to. Oh, shit. Let's get Austin off the stage. Sorry. Let me look this up real quick. He was the one that had the interview with Chris Jones about Zach Wilson. Let's take a look here. And he was kind of the instigating with Chris Jones. You know what? I'm not going to show you guys. You guys don't need to see that. You can look it up. So he did an interview with Chris Jones. And in this interview, he was instigating, trying to get Chris Jones to say that Zach Wilson was trash. Rodney Harrison himself called him trash, which personally, I don't think is right. It shouldn't be. These guys are NFL players. They're all good. They're all really good. There's a reason why they're in the NFL. They're all really good. Now, when we look at them compared to other players, of course, yeah, I could sit here and say Zach Wilson is trash, but truth is none of us could ever do what he can do with a football. So, and he sleeps with MILF. So, okay, we're back up. Sorry, I'm going to have to edit this, so there might be some spotty spots. But, Eddie, you're an instigator. So I've got you as Rodney Harrison. Based off that interview, I think he's an instigator. You're an instigator. You like to see You like to see the show. You sit there, you're the Michael Jackson meme where you're sitting there eating the popcorn, but you're also an instigator. So I got you as Rodney Harrison. I'm going to save you for last. My next person I've got for comparison is myself. I'm going to compare myself to the Bengals because I think my team's honestly solid. I mean, I know everyone loves their team, but I've got 2 top-end wide receivers. I've got arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I've got 2 running backs that are producing. My tight end is not very good. That's fine. And I've got some flex options. But my quarterback, my average points per game on my quarterback, under 9 points a game. My quarterback game is absolutely abysmal. And I even tried Justin Fields. But I'm going to ride with CJ Stroud now. But yeah, I've got myself as the Bengals. I think I've got the talent, but it's just not showing. Absolutely not showing in the worst way possible. The only difference is Bengals at least have a win. I don't. It's rough, but that's the comparison I came up with myself. If you don't like it, you guys know where the complaint department is. Next up, I've got Jeff. Jeff, I think your team is being carried by Bijan. And that's exactly what's happening with the Falcons. I think you are the Falcons. You are being carried by Bijan, and so are the Falcons. You've got some weapons, but no one's producing besides Bijan. And yeah, some players are going to have some good games. Kirk Cousins is going to ball out every now and then, but he's still Kirk Cousins. I don't know. So that's the best thing I've got for you is the Falcons. I think you're just being carried by Bijan. I will see. Good luck to you this week. I don't think the Falcons are bad. So it's not a knock. Don't get all butthurt like Austin. But next I've got Nate. Nate, my comparison for you, Jacksonville Jaguars. If you look at the Jaguars, they're stacked. They've got Trevor Lawrence, who generational quarterback coming out of college. They've got Calvin Ridley, arguably one of the best route runners. They've got Travis Etienne, who's a really good running back. They've got Evan Ingram, who produced last year and is a very good tight end. They've got Christian Kirk, also another really good route runner, really solid wide receiver. They have all the weapons, but they're not living up to their potential. And Nate, I feel like that's the same for your team. You've got all the weapons. You've got the weapons. I think you've got a strong team. Patrick Mahomes has not been playing like regular Patrick Mahomes, just like Trevor Lawrence. I mean, yeah, you have Christian McCaffrey that's absolutely killing it, but he's like the one exception. I think your team is stacked in a good way, but they're just not producing. So that's why I've got you as Jacksonville Jaguars. Dre, my comparison for you are the Vikings. And the reason I have you as the Vikings, not for like players' sake, but game wise, seems like you're 1-3, and I believe so are the Vikings. And that's based off of some close games. You lost by 0.3 points on 1 week. And then you've had a few other weeks or another week where you weren't too far off. And I feel like that's just like the Vikings, where you've had some close games that just have not gone your way. And I think that's a big part of why you're 1-3. I think you actually have a really good team, just like the Vikings, but especially with that, you've got some young dogs on your team, but just you haven't been able to win those close games. Sometimes that's just fantasy. And then next up, I've got Whitney. I've got you as the Packers. Now I got to remember why I have you as the Packers. The Packers. I don't think Jordan Love has I struggle with your comparison, honestly, but I think Jordan Love's done well, but he hasn't. If you look at his stats, like he's had a lot of good throws, or like a lot of big plays, but not that he doesn't have that consistency. And I feel like that's kind of the Packers. They have their spurts where like they beat the Saints. They did absolutely nothing for the first 3 quarters. Then all of a sudden, boom, they come out of nowhere and start score, and they win the game. I feel like your team just has not been consistent the way you might want it to be as a fantasy manager. And so that's why I have you as the Packers. And then Mr. Organic, I've got you as the Dolphins. I think arguably Dolphins could kind of have the run for the money of the best team in the league. And I still think you have the best team in the league. But you had the one bad week. You scored a whole bunch, just like the Dolphins, and then you come back and you don't have the best week. So I feel like you're just emulating the way the Dolphins are playing, where you win, dominate, and then you get a big game, and it just doesn't. Your team doesn't produce. They didn't produce last week, but like I said, it's almost as expected. After you score 170 points, I mean, you could split that up in 2 weeks, and that's, I mean, you're 170 probably as close to my total points. So after that week, of course, you're not going to be scoring another 170. I wouldn't expect that. But and last but not least, we've got Austin. We're going to continue our rivalry. I don't mind it. Yes, I haven't really talked to you much because I'm very salty and I'm a sore loser. I don't like losing. I've told you this already, but yeah, I kind of went over it a little bit already. Your opponent's record is 1-7. I don't know what you're chirping about. It's like Alabama. If they've got this little small community college, Edmonds Community College, that plays them in football, and Edmonds is sitting there chirping at them before the game, and Alabama comes out and just absolutely destroys them. You think Alabama should be chirping back at Edmonds after a win like that? Probably not. Act like you've been there before. So, my comparison for you is Baker Mayfield. Yeah, you've had some wins. You're 2-2. Just like I believe Baker Mayfield is. I'm not going to look, but I believe that's what he is. But we all know Baker Mayfield is average. Some might say mediocre. I believe that's your team. I think it's mediocre. You got Jonathan Taylor coming back. You've got, I do like Lamar, and I do like the Ravens, but Lamar doesn't know how to protect himself, and he's shown that he doesn't. You can't depend on him to throw, and so I think it's teams figure out how to stop him on the run, which, yes, it's going to be hard, but the more they contain him, the less relevant he's going to be. You've got Deebo Samuel is not the number one. Ayuk is clear number one. So Deebo Samuel, don't be sending me Deebo Samuel trades. And then ETN, the Jacksonville, I mean, they might turn around, but they don't look as good. Josh Jacobs look good, but we'll see if he can keep that up in a mediocre offense as the Las Vegas Raiders. But yeah, my comparison for you is Baker Mayfield. Also, Baker Mayfield, he's just he's also a chirper. So you've chirped at me. I deserve it. You know what? I'll admit it. I deserve it. I talk plenty of smack. But does it really feel good to beat a 40-point team? Do you feel accomplished? I don't know. I'm a sore loser, but you got to admit you're a sore winner. Personally, I don't think I would have done that, but it is what it is. Awesome. Nothing but love. There we go. Honestly, it's because I want 2 rings, and I'll get there. We're going to turn the season around. That's why I changed my name to also the video. That's why I changed my name to Colby LaFleur. Dodgeball reference, where the average Joe's kind of thing. Okay, well, hope you guys enjoyed. I try not to do too much talking on the chat. I try to let my podcast talk for me. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Good luck to everyone on week 5, besides Jeff, because I'm going against you. But peace out, everyone.